horror fans, welcome back to Jay vs. Horror. I'm your host, Jay Wall. Guys, we've been gone for a couple of weeks, but it's Monday, and usually on Monday around here, that means it's time for 5 awesome horror movies you can watch for free. That's right, guys. We're going to be taking on 5 awesome horror movies that you can watch for free. We give you the links to the movies in the description to this video below. Just cruise down to the description. If you hear a movie that you like or you see a trailer for a movie you like, click on the link for that movie. It'll take you right to it. You can watch it anytime you want to. Alright, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started. At number 5, The Believers. It's a 1987 Canadian-American crime thriller horror film directed by John Schlesinger. It stars Martin Sheen, Robert Loggia, and Helen Shaver, and it is based on the 1982 novel The Religion by Nicholas Conde. Guys, this is a very underrated movie that's been kind of forgotten about over the years. The film starts off with a psychologist named Cal Jamison, and the movie has a big bang opening scene that kind of just throws you off from the very beginning. Very jarring opening scene, and Cal's wife dies in this scene through an accident. I don't want to give too much away here. But yeah, Cal Jamison, played by Martin Sheen, he then relocates with his son from Minneapolis to New York City, where he becomes a psychologist for the police department. And there's been a lot of ritualistic child murders inside the city when Cal shows up, and he starts delving into this case to try to solve what's going on here. The Believers is one of the best cult movies ever made, and it really invokes that sense of paranoia inside you, where you start to wonder about people, like how involved are they in these little groups and cults and whatever they call them that they have. I mean, because I know when I was a police officer, I was approached a few times, once by the Masonic group, and then once by the Fraternal Order of Police Officers, which just, I don't know, none of that ever sounded good to me. It all sounded weird. Like, I didn't want to be in any kind of exclusive club, but my grandpa was a Mason, and he explained to me that it did matter. Like, there were times in life where if you had that little ring, you know, that made a difference to somebody. And so it makes you wonder about how true this is, and that's what this film really explores, is the how far-reaching are these cults? Are they, you know, as high-reaching as friends and loved ones that we see every day and have no idea they're involved in this? Or does it reach even higher than that to, like, government officials and CEOs and things like that? So it's a very fun movie and a great thriller from the 80s. Guys, let's take a look at the trailer for The Believers.
More than anything else, Cal Jamison wants to leave the horror of his old life behind. Now, in his new life, he's about to discover that the real horror is just beginning.
Don't you come any closer! Did you see what they did to the kid in there?
You said he found the body on an altar with a lot of religious paraphernalia, right?
A religion as old as time.
One life from each of us counts.
Versus an unimaginable force for evil.
This ritual's being performed now. One life is all he has.
Nothing can stop them.
It's a power you can't imagine.
Want them to know who you are? Do you?
What have they done to you, Sean? I can't move.
No one can help you.
They got my shield, don't you get it?
You looked into his eyes, and you both felt the power of the man who killed them.
Jessica!
They know who you are.
Chris was chosen, Cal. When he found the shell, it was a sign. We want you to join us.
Chris! Chris! Chris!
Dad! Let me go!
Chris!
The Believers.
At number 4. Guys, here I chose a movie that's not a horror movie in any way. I'm not going to try to pass it off like it is, but it's a very good movie, and I highly recommend it. The movie is called The Image Revolution from 2014, and it's a documentary about comic books, about Image Comics. Now, if you're not familiar with this, what happened was in the early 90s, 7 of the greatest comic book artists of all time left Marvel and decided to build their own comics company called Image. And the whole thing was, up until this point, the artists at comic book places like Marvel and DC had not been treated that great. They had not been given the amount of credit they deserved, nor the compensation they deserved for the amount of work that they had created and millions of dollars that they had brought the companies that exploited those creations. Now, these guys were like Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, several other guys, and they got sick of being treated like crap, and they broke away from Marvel Comics and created their own company called Image Comics. And pretty much the day they created Image Comics, it became the number 3 comic book company in the United States. And within time, it would grow to become number 2. And it was a lot of money for 7 guys who were used to making, about $10,000 an issue or something like that. What happened was the 7 guys each broke off and ran their own companies, created their own comic books, and then they published them through Image. And this was a great idea, and the whole story of it is wonderful. These, 7 kids who just decide they're going to do something different than what everybody else has been doing. There's also some really cool messages in this documentary, including how sometimes when you rebel against something you hate, you become that very thing. Guys, I debated about whether I should talk about this one or not, but it is free right now, and it's so good. It's such a great film. And I really think that most people who enjoy horror movies also like comics. Not everyone, but the majority, I would say, also like comics. So I think you guys will really, really enjoy this film. I highly recommend it. Let's take a look at the trailer for The Image Revolution.
The industry of comics has never had a revolution. When Image hit, it was a perfect time and a perfect place, which I personally don't believe is ever going to happen again.
If you weren't there, you just don't get an idea. These guys were rock stars.
These guys were Elvis, all of them. It was like 7 Elvises.
There were riot police. There were helicopters in the air. This is for a comic book store signing.
When I was growing up, Prince, Madonna, Michael Jackson, they grabbed a generation in the 80s. We did that in the 90s. We grabbed them.
We were just gobsmacked. Nobody saw that one coming.
They can replace you one at a time, but you leave in mass, and all of a sudden there's an impact.
We became enemy number 1 in the comics industry.
All hell broke loose.
Everybody was giving us 6 months.
Everything that everybody has ever worked for is in this Image Comics. If you guys fuck this up, you are going to blow it for everyone for a generation.
But Image was kind of a phenomenon.
With 6 comics, we were the number 2 publisher.
We all pretty much went, yeah, this is gonna work.
And that's when people freaked out.
Guys would get checks for $600,000 or $700,000. These guys are making $20,000 a year for it.
We would go to work in clogs, shorts, in our sports cars. That was life.
I didn't want no. I didn't want to ever hear no.
I really don't think anybody thought that would end. Because why would you want it to?
I mean, we did absolutely everything you could to fuck shit up.
They spied on each other. They stole each other's ideas.
I can't run my business always having to look over my shoulder.
We made every mistake in the book, and yet we survived that.
More so now than the founders. Robert Kirkman is the glowing example.
This is the single most successful comic book we've had in the last 10 years.
There is a generation of creators coming in that actually want to just do creator-owned stuff.
I got to do something that a lot of people never get to do, which is make a living at something you completely enjoy.
And everybody was like, Image is only going to last 6 months. Now, it's the 6 months that lasted 20 years.
At number 3, Hidden in the Woods. Now, this is the 2012 version, guys, the Spanish language version. They remade this film in 2014 into a English language film, but it's not nearly as good as the original, as is usually the case, right? This one is a 2012 Chilean splatter film directed by Patricio Valerdes and co-written by Andrea Cavalletto. It features a mixed cast of relatively unknown actors and well-known Chilean comedians, including Siboney Lowe, Carolina Escobar, and Danielle Antivillo. Now, the plot follows Anne and Annie, who live along with their deformed brother in the desolate southern Chilean countryside after having been sheltered from society by their drug dealer father for their entire lives. Now, one day, the police come knocking, and after a bunch of bullets are fired and the chainsaws are revved up, the three siblings find themselves on their own and on the road. The trio is also on the run from their father's crazed drug kingpin boss, Uncle Costello, who is convinced the sisters know where his valuable supply of drugs is hidden. He sends an army of trained killers to track them down, but Costello and his gang find that they might be in for a little bit more than they bargained for with these orphans. Amidst a world of bloody executions, roadside prostitution, sexual assault, and even cannibalism, the bodies just keep on piling up. Now, yeah, this is a good film, guys. If you haven't seen it, I don't know why. It was really underrated when it first came out, and then everybody got hyped up for the English language remake, which had Michael Biehn in it, but was very dull compared to the original from 2012. So let's take a look at the trailer for the 2012 Chilean Bloodbath, Hidden in the Woods. At number 2, Open Windows. It's a 2014 found footage techno thriller film directed and written by Nacho Vigalondo. The film stars Elijah Wood, Sasha Grey, and Neil Maskell. Open Windows is a fun movie, guys. It takes themes from things like Hitchcock's Rear Window and also other films we've seen like Phone Booth with Colin Farrell and Kiefer Sutherland. It updates those a little bit with this modern era technological vibe. As the film starts out, we see Nick, played by Elijah Wood, is a fanboy. He wins a contest to meet his favorite actress and finds out it's all been a big mistake. Now, Nick is devastated. He finds out that this contest that he thought he won has been canceled, but then he starts to get messages while he's in his hotel room. And what he finds out is he's been strategically placed where he can see out of his hotel room into the hotel room across the way, which is inhabited by his favorite actress that he was supposed to meet, named Jill. Now, as the film moves on, we find out what's happened is that a deadly psychopath has decided to play a game with both Nick and Jill. It's a fun movie, guys. You really can't go wrong with this one. It's not a pure horror film. It's more of a techno thriller, I will say that. But it's a fun watch. I will say that I was a little disappointed by the ending. There's a big twist at the end. It didn't seem like they really needed a big twist, but there is one there. Some people like twists, so maybe that makes it more for you. For me, it took away from it a little bit. But yeah, let's take a look at 2014's Open Windows.
Everybody to the door!
What is this? It's her phone. She thinks her camera is off right now. She's the one who goes around screwing over guys like you. I'm just getting even. She'll do anything you ask, Nick.
Jill, no!
Who are you? Can you keep a secret?
What do you want?
Drive! You can turn off the camera, you can turn off the computer, but remember, you're the one who wanted to see me so badly.
What's the address? How do I get there? Get out of the way!
Do it.
Like this.
Do as I say, or she dies. It's time to say goodbye.
At number 1, Leviathan. Guys, I chose this one for two reasons. For the old horror hounds who remember this film and love it and maybe haven't seen it in a while, and for the young horror hounds out there, the horror pups, who haven't seen this one yet. If you like Alien, if you like The Thing, you're going to love Leviathan. It's a 1989 science fiction horror film directed by George P. Cosmatos and written by David Webb Peoples and Jeb Stewart. It stars Peter Weller from RoboCop, Richard Crenna from Rambo, Ernie Hudson from the Ghostbusters, and Daniel Stern from Home Alone as the crew of an underwater geological facility stalked and killed by a hideous mutant creature. Its creature effects were designed by Academy Award-winning special effects artist Stan Winston, so that right there, guys, tells you this is a quality movie. The cast alone here, guys, is amazing. I didn't even mention Hector Elizondo. It's like basically every great second banana of the 1980s put into one film along with Peter Weller. Basically what we have here is the crew of an underwater mining ship who discover the wreckage of a ship that's not even been documented. Now, as they investigate, they find out that these crew members have disappeared to mysterious circumstances. As the movie goes on, it becomes kind of a hybrid, like I said, of Alien and also The Thing. I think if you love those movies, you love this movie. It's a truly scaled down popcorn version of those great films, but it in itself is a great horror movie, a fun creature feature, a great watch any day of the week. Guys, let's take a look at the trailer for Leviathan.
It was an experiment that tampered with nature's most basic laws. It went terribly wrong. It was buried 5 miles down. Now, a crew of undersea miners is about to stumble upon this terrifying secret.
Shack to 7, what's going on out there, Williams?
My God, are you picking this up?
Look at that. Leviathan.
Currently with a Russian fleet in the Baltic Sea.
Currently it's rusted junk and we're looking at it. What's your air reading?
20 minutes.
Do something quick! We've lost him. My crew's in jeopardy.
But you have no proof.
I'm ordering you to start an emergency medical evacuation.
What if it turns out to be nothing?
Help me.
It's already killed one man.
My rebreather stopped. I'm losing compression. I can't
Whatever got Six-Pack and Bowman, it's still here.
I feel something. Somebody's alive in here.
What's going on? Six-Pack. Six-Pack, answer.
Hey, don't go in there. Don't touch anything.
What are you trying to tell us, Doc?
It absorbs the intelligence of its victim.
Thank goodness you're still alive.
When are you coming?
I say we protect ourselves.
Leviathan.
All right, horror fans, that's all we've got for this week. Now, I'll be back tomorrow. We have our Patreon pick show coming up, and also we're going to be doing the top 10 horror films of 1982. Guys, stick with us a little bit here. We're having some issues with our equipment. We had some broken microphone issues, and we've been trying to get a microphone that we think is as good as the one that we had, at least. And so we're on microphone number 2 now with that, so we're trying. So stick with us, and we will talk to you as always the next time we have something worth talking about. Bye.